Looks like Steen is a full participant in training, but Jade didn't seem so. What is his status for Saturday?
He's day to day. I mean, he's been training on and off with the group, so we'll see. He's had a little bit of participation, then we pulled him out of the last part, and then hopefully full go tomorrow.
What is his issue?
He had an ankle, so one where he got kicked, and then one where it was non-contact and rolled it. So it's pretty impressive that he made it through the time that he did, and how effective he actually was.
You were in a game 3 last year against Columbus. Is there anything that you can take from that you can apply to this match against Miami?
They're just completely different scenarios. Like, we knew that going into it that this potentially could go to 3 games, and then you just try to take the preparation really is the big piece of like how you prepared for those games. They're different opponents, different year, lots of different players. So yeah, I don't take anything of like that part of like the actual game planning, but just the preparation is really the big piece of how you prepare for a 3rd game in a series.
You talked about being very deliberate with the training last week.
Intentional, yeah.
Yeah, intentional. Based upon what y'all learned from game 1 to apply to game 2. I'm curious if there's anything you can share from us from game 2 that y'all are working on for game 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you guys got to see some of it there. It's the same. There's a lot of the same that we focused on earlier in the week, and then now we're looking at just transition moments. So whether it's on the attacking transition or on the defending transition, how we limit some opportunities, but how we also capitalize on the other end, because it can make or break a game. On the other part of it is going to be continued focus on set pieces, because in the playoffs that becomes a big emphasis. Without giving too much away, like that's kind of been the main parts of our focus.
Brad talked about the internal pressure y'all put on yourselves, but that from the outside, Miami is likely the one facing the most pressure because they have all the stars. So I'm curious if you agreed with that, and does that change anything?
Yeah, I mean, outside stuff is not. It's been like the theme of our team that we don't control that, so it's not our team either. So whatever the outside is saying is not our focus. Our focus is on ourselves. We have our own internal pressure individually, collectively as a team, and that's the pressure we put on ourselves to perform every day. So we're in a great position to be in the playoffs, and now we're hoping that the one game left that we got more after that. So,
Rob, when you took the interim job, you had to rebuild the self-esteem of the team. You guys were not where you are today. When the tide turns psychologically, the team looks better, they're happier, they're more confident. Does your job change at all?
In terms of like my day-to-day work?
Yeah. When you feel like you've gotten them to a point where they're more confident, what changes about your job?
Nothing. You really have to stay the same. Like, I tell them, just stay the course, be where your feet are, be present. Don't let your highs get too high and your lows too low. So it's really remaining consistent in our messaging, consistent in our daily work. I think earlier on we were talking about when's our tide going to turn, when's that luck going to break per se, and that's just about consistency. So no, like I think sometimes I even get paranoid if things are going quote unquote well, that don't get too high on it, and because that could turn easily. And everything in life is temporary. So whether it's been bad moments or good moments, everything in life is temporary. So I always try to stay grounded in that.
I asked Brad a similar question. Messi, for his standard, a bit quiet against you guys.
Don't say that.
But
Don't
again,
say that.
I know. Still had his moments that were pretty decisive. But what changes when now you transfer the plan against him to their home stadium, their home pitch, where you know the game may turn in their favor early?
Well, nothing changes in terms of where the venue is for me. I won't. The Messi is fantastic, and there is no slander on my end. He's a fantastic player. Whether people say he's produced, not produced, I don't want to hear it because he's fantastic. So, and again, that doesn't change for the venue. Like, we have to have a really good start. We have to be really aware of where he's at amongst the other players. I've touched on it before. Like, yeah, they've got the 4 of them. The bigger name players are fantastic, but then they've got good guys around them. And then again, Tata is a great coach, so he's always getting the best out of his group, I feel like. But the venue won't change our approach in that sense. It's just making sure that we start the game right. So you touched on that a little bit. Like that part's really important, of making sure, obviously, in the first game we go down a goal early on, and then even in the second game, in the beginning of the second, or later in the first half, we go down a goal. So if we can be on the other end of that, it can lead us in a better spot.
Can you share what you and Tata, that moment you had after game 2?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it was pretty loud, but what did you guys say?
Yeah, game 2 is a little different. obviously the way we scored the last goal, my composure was gone, I would say, and I celebrated, and I out of the respect I have for him, I didn't feel like that was maybe appropriate, and so I was apologizing on that. Not apologizing that we won the game or anything like that. I would like to have more composure to go and then say good game, and that was that part, and then just saying great job, like we'll see you again. That's what we said to each other on the last time, was that see you Saturday. So I'll see him again Saturday. I've got just so much respect for him, and it's been an honor coaching against him, and looking forward to competing one more time against him.
Knowing him well, do you think he might try to do anything different, anything surprising on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him that well. And he's never going to tell me anything to get that advantage or give up an advantage. So, no, I'm just focused on our group and what I can control out of our group.
How hard is it to prepare to go up against a team that you played 3 times before?
It's hard with the personnel that they have. Like, they're just a fantastic team. I've said it every time I stand in front of you, and they've got great players, great coach, and they've got a great way of playing. They were the best team throughout the regular season, and they proved that time and time again. So it's being hyper alert in every single moment. We've touched on this a lot throughout the year and different opponents we played, but in this time of the year in the playoffs, and it can be one moment that changes the course of your season. So that's a big part of it. Like playing them 3 times or however many times will have played them by the end of it, I don't know how much advantage it gives you or disadvantage, or it's just more preparation. Every scenario is different. Every game that we'll have played against them, I'm sure there will have been a different lineup. So it's just living in the moment and taking the opportunity that we get.
Going back to what you said about the highs and the lows and being where your feet are, I feel like that can be tough to do. I mean, we're human. So with you and your players, what do you really tell them to try and keep them grounded and focused on the day-to-day?
The same of what you just said to me is that I keep repeating those words. Really focus on what you can control. It sounds like a broken record. It sounds maybe corny, or you see it on a poster board somewhere or on an Instagram post, but I really believe that stuff. It is difficult. Like, yeah, there's distraction all around you. There's social media. There's life on the outside. People have kids. People have different family members, girlfriends, all the different things that you have, and I don't mean to say that they're distractions, because my family is not a distraction to me, but there's life outside of what we do here. So it's just really being present and making sure that you're focused on, when we show up here, we do our job to the best of our ability. We focus on being intentional and getting better, whether it's a game against Miami or it was a game mid-season.
Brad said there wasn't a lot that changed for you guys between game 1 and game 2 tactically. Do you agree with that? And just in terms of the longer you guys can keep it 0-0 and kind of work yourself into the game?
Yeah, I mean, consistency is really important. So in terms of how much are we going to change tactically from game to game, like, we are where we are. We've got the personnel we have, and so it's not like there's going to be you won't see a huge change. We change the shape, so there's a little bit of that wrinkle from game 1 to game 2. Game 2 to game 3, we'll look at ways we can be more effective in possession and also limit their chances out of possession. And whether it's 0-0, I don't want to look at the mentality of being that passive, or like how long can we keep it 0-0. I mean, it's starting on the front foot and making sure we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. That part's really important.
Rob, how important has Brad been in your recent games and really throughout the season, not just with his saves, his goalkeeping, but also his characteristics as a leader in the team and a communicator?
Yeah, I've said it all year long, he's been fantastic. He's a consistent person. He shows up to do the job to the best visibility. The focus and intentionality that he puts on his job is pretty impressive when you get to see it up close. He has a laugh and a joke, and you see him enjoy every single day. When it comes time to work, it's time to work, and you can almost see it in his eyes, the focus shift. He's also started to really, I would say, come to really good form in the playoffs or in the big moments, and I think that's because he's seen it. He's been around it. He's got quality in a lot of different ways. He shows it on the field, and he shows it in the locker room, and yeah, I'm happy he's on our side.
Among the players, who is the best at being where their feet are and keeping everyone else kind of in that same mental space?
Shoot, I don't know about that. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't have one person that sticks out in my mind from a player standpoint.
Is that good or bad?
It's great. I mean, that's the best thing about it. Like, they're players, they should focus on just playing and being. Sometimes it's like happy-go-lucky. They show up, they do their job. Someone tells them what they should be doing, where to eat, where to be, all those things. Like, that is somewhat of a like, all right, you're blocking out noise, and you're just like, all right, my schedule says I should be here at this time, go here at this time, and so some part of that's great. I think there's leaders in there that might help with that in a quiet way, but I don't have that insight in terms of where they're at in the locker room all the time.
And PKs, obviously, could end in a draw, go to PKs. Any extra work on that this week compared to other weeks?
The same that we talked about with the Leagues Cup. We did the preparation there. They do stuff sometimes after training. That's been relatively the same.
How did you rate the matchup in Game 2 between Saba and Jordi Alba? And how important is that in your team's success?
Yeah, it was. Again, another fantastic player. Saba was playing in a different position. He played there, obviously, in the later stages, or as we had to make the subs in Miami. There was a focus that he had to have on him attacking, and then on the vice versa on the other side, like he had to go and attack at him or at their left side. So it was a back and forth matchup for sure. Saba's got a lot of quality for us. He's been very consistent in delivering in some key moments here. He's a team player, so it's about how he can help and contribute to the team. And it'll be the same for me going into the next game, wherever he plays, what position.
Rob, do you expect to get your full 8 hours of sleep on Friday night? Knowing that
8 hours. I never get that.
Oh, yeah. You have kids, so that's like. But honestly, like the anxiety, the expectation, the opportunity. You guys win this game, and it's major news to eliminate the favorite. Is that on your mind? Is that something that you discuss perhaps with those closest to you, the players?
Yeah, no, I haven't discussed anything apart from like we talked about being where my feet are. I tried 8 hours I never get anyway, so the amount of sleep I get is not relevant to the game. It's just maybe more relevant to my schedule the next day. But yeah, I don't put any, like, if I start thinking about what might be ahead, I'm gonna miss the moment. I'll cross that bridge whenever it comes, whatever that result is. I'm happy to be in this position, to be where we're at, to be able to compete, to put ourselves in this spot. So I'm just really gonna enjoy it by doing the best we can and put my full focus on putting 100% into this game.
How do you cope with anxiety? What do you do?
I do some guided meditation. Sometimes that's I would say consistently on a daily basis. Not always. I do my best to get there, but there's guided meditation. Sometimes cold plunge, whether that's like a fad, but I usually do it after a workout, something like that. I talk a lot, so I talk to people. That's really important. I mean, I've got a great support system in my family. My wife has been my biggest supporter since I was 16 years old, so she's seen the highs, the lows, and everything in between. My kids don't listen all the time anyway, so sometimes you're just talking to talk. But yeah, they give me a sounding board, and it's not at this moment. It's not the anxiety. It's just like I'm excited. Like I'm happy that we're in this position. I'm excited to play the game. So I'm sure the players are the same. Like I want Saturday night to come because these are the moments we live for. We love playing under the lights. Whether it's home, whether it's away. I mean, last Saturday night was amazing. So looking forward to something like that in a different environment. Thank you, guys. Thank you.